out here, out here, out here. Straight up Cali, let's go. Straight up Cali, sun's blazing hot.
Greetings, good people. Welcome back to another edition of Leaders and Learners, where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. Listen, everybody sees the jersey, but they don't see the grind. Today, we're sitting down with Syracuse linebacker Trey Dudley, a young man built on discipline, faith, and hard work. We're talking about what it really takes to be a D1 athlete, the sacrifices, the family, and the focus behind the frame. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hey Trey, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Man, I am good. I'm thrilled to have you here and excited to get into your journey. So tell me right now, how are you feeling? What's going on with you?
Feeling good. Coming off a bye week. Got a chance to rest and kind of regroup with the team. We're looking forward into having a great week of practice this upcoming week and execute against Pitt on Saturday.
Okay, execute. Now, let me ask you, before we get too deep, I want you to tell me, when did you realize that football wasn't just a sport, but it was something you wanted to dedicate your life to?
That's easy. So for me, that question was answered my 10th grade year of high school. So I remember that I would go to football a lot to kind of clear my mind, between training and working on my craft. And then, I started getting a lot better. And so I realized that, this is something that I could take very seriously.
When you said you went to clear your mind, what kind of stuff would be on your mind and about what age was that? Like, talk me through when it clicked for you. How old were you? What did that look like?
Oh, so, things on my mind, probably just average things for like a 16-year-old, school, my social life, seemingly first world problems that, somehow managed to get on my nerves a lot. So, yeah, between just going to the football field or going in the weight room, just getting a lift in, and I just started noticing that it was kind of like my sanctuary almost.
Mm.
So that's what made it very important to me.
What was your home life like at the time?
So obviously my mom. Yeah, so it was just me, my mom, my dad, and my sister. I had a very great upbringing. Very thankful to have the family that I grew up in. They shaped me a lot in terms of who I am and like the values that I have. So all I can say is that I had a very great upbringing, but even regardless, like they still pushed me to give 100% effort in what I do. And, one of the things I do a lot is football.
So, as you matriculated through your sport, and this is a little off subject, but I want to hear your thoughts on this. I'm sure you met other kids who may not have had the same, I don't know, support lifestyle as you. How did that make you feel? Like, how did that enlighten you, recognizing that, well, not everybody has a supportive household, or not everybody has two parents that show up to support them at their events? Like, what kind of moment was that for you as a growing young man?
Made me feel grateful
Talk
that,
about it.
I didn't have to learn all of this stuff on my own. You know, I always look at, some of my teammates or like kids that I've met in high school trying to do the same thing as me, but they don't have as much of a support system as I did. Just makes me feel very blessed and grateful, for my family.
I love that. I love that for them. Yeah, because it's hard. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Being a parent, we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to make sure you feel supported. At the same time, We have to discipline you. Were there times where you actually had to be disciplined?
Yeah. So, my parents can always try to instill discipline in me, but at the end of the day, it's on me. So, I have to be the one that forces myself to put those extra time, put that extra time in studying the playbook, watching film. Like your coaches or your parents, they can say all the right things, but that's where the road ends, in terms of like what they can do for you. At the end of the day, it's your responsibility to put the right amount of effort in to get the results you want.
When was that moment where your parents stop or your coaches stop having to motivate you and you were like, okay, I got it. This is what I need to do to go where I'm trying to go with this.
Yeah, it was for me. That was in high school, and I talk about this with my dad all the time. Like I had this like period in middle school where it was just like really rough. Like I claimed to enjoy playing sports, but like I didn't like put that much time into it, in terms of like developing myself. My dad would get on me a lot. It's like, you gotta like put extra work in. And, one day it just clicked like, yeah, it's on me to do this. And the great thing about that is that I started embracing it. Like it brought me purpose almost.
Okay, I want you to give me some advice because I'm actually dealing with the same thing with my son. Where is the line where we let go and just allow for them to make it happen for themselves? Because we don't want to feel like we're not supporting them and giving them all the motivation that they need. At the same time, we don't want them to fail. We don't want them to lose sight of it. Give me some advice as a parent on when to just let go.
Well, for starters, how old is your son?
17.
17. Um, I'd say that's probably the age where you just gotta step back and see like what they really want to do. Um, that's what my parents did, and they realized that miraculously I did actually want to play football. But I mean, everybody doesn't want to do sports. I mean, this is very physically demanding, mentally demanding. I mean, it's not for everybody. So you just gotta see what your kids actually want to do, and then just support it. There comes a certain point where you can't like force them to like play sports or like
Yeah,
do
do the
really
work.
anything at that point.
You just see that there's a lot of young people that want the accolades and the reward of doing the work, right? They want the reward, they want the to be on the big team, they want to be on the big stage, but
100%.
doing the actual work and making the sacrifices can be a little tough for some. So I
Yeah.
want to ask you, what is something about being a D1 athlete that people on the outside would never understand?
Um, I'd say the fact that like your sport and your off the field activities will collide a lot. That's happened to me a lot, and you're gonna have to pick between putting work in and like other things sometimes. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to have fun, because obviously when I with the very little free time that I get, I try to relax a little bit. But yeah, it's just a lot of people don't realize like how time consuming it is. Like it's basically a job at this point.
I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that. So, walk us through what a typical day in your life looks like during the season from the moment you wake up. to the moment you hit the road or the field?
If I could describe college football with one sentence, I'd probably say early mornings and late nights. So I'd say a typical day for me, I probably wake up at 7 o'clock, get my breakfast in, go to classes. Then after classes, I'll probably get a little bit of time to eat lunch and get taped and get ready for all my meetings. Then I go to my meetings, before practice. Then practice, which is pretty much the highlight of my day. It's like 2 hours. Um, then after that, we'll have dinner. I'm a freshman, so I have to do study hall. But other guys who older, they don't have to go to study hall. They can just either go home or like watch some film after practice or whatever. And then after that, I go home, probably get some review time in, with the playbook, watch a film, like I said before. And then by the time I'm done with my day, I'll probably be ready to go to bed by 10:30.
So your college life does not look like the college life of someone that would come in and was not on the team, right? So I know that you have friends that aren't athletes, and there has to be some pressure sometime when you see them hanging out or chilling and just relaxing. There has to be moments where you're just like, oh, if I could just. So I want you to tell me how you deal with pressure balancing school, academic expectations, and still try to live life like a young man.
First part is accepting that you're not going to have as much free time as regular people. It's just a part of the job. There's a lot of money involved now, and you got guys trying to go to the league. So by default, you should kind of understand that you're just not always going to have as much free time as NARPs or non-athletic regular people. So I think once you accept that, you'll have a better time managing your time between your sports and school and your social life. We get a fair amount here and there. I'd say like on Saturdays, after our games, because like we've played a lot of 12 o'clock games, and then we get done, and then we have the rest of the night to do whatever we want. So I mean, you can take that and have fun, and once the off season hits, you'll have a little bit more time, but just understand that you're gonna be busier than most people. It's just a part of the job.
Wait, what did you call them again? Narcs?
NARPs.
Narcs. So, for the people that are watching that don't know, his parents are both Greek. And when we were on campus and people that aren't Greek, we called them GDIs, and they hated that.
What does that mean?
Like, uh, just like regular people, like not Greek,
Uh,
non-Greeks. We'd be like GDIs. Are we going to invite the GDIs, the not Greek people? So do y'all call people that NARPs in public? Like
we don't we don't do it in public. It's kind of just like a
between
term
y'all?
that exists on social media. But I wouldn't go up to somebody and be like, "Hey, you're a NARP."
Like not NARPs aren't welcome. Never, you'd never say that.
No,
Okay,
not that. I mean, we hang out with
okay, all right,
regular guys too.
interesting. Yeah, GDIs. That as a Black Greek individual, Black Greek student, we would say GDIs. Um, with that being said, though, we have a lot of athletes that are part of our Black Greek organizations. And listening to you talk about this, I actually don't understand how they even found time to do that. So, are there things outside of football that you want to do on Syracuse campus?
Um, as of right now, not really. I'm still kind of adjusting to the schedule myself. I've only been here for the last 4 or 5 months, and it goes by quick. But I'm still learning, so I don't. As of right now, I don't think it'd be smart for me to like get involved with like extracurricular stuff. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. But there's nothing. So what happens
Well,
when there is something like maybe a professional organization or a Greek organization, or can you see yourself making time for that? Maybe when you don't have study hall like the upperclassmen, because I'm trying to give these people a little hope that the hard work, and even in my field, I say, when you work hard, really hard at the beginning, the end of it is not always as rigorous if you do a lot of the hard work at the beginning, right?
yeah, I
So
agree.
when you don't have mandatory study hall, or you don't have certain things that you have to do because you're an underclassman and you worked hard enough to become a part of the group that has a lot more freedom, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is there anything else on campus that you could see yourself adding to what you do? Do you do BSU? Do you know any other student organizations? Like, talk me through your college experience and some of your wants and desires outside of football.
As of right now, I'd say maybe just having opportunities to like, get back to the community or maybe join a Black student union or something like that. But, you got Coach Fran Brown on 12 24/7. It's like, it's kind of hard to think about anything else but that. So yeah, if I do get involved with any extra things outside of football, it's gonna be when I'm older and I've you know become more adjusted to this schedule.
What role have your parents played in all of this? Like, talk me through a little more of that, especially since you've been on campus.
Just instilling the right values in me. I mean, they can't coach me in football, like they don't know that stuff. But what they can do is teach me the importance of working hard and being disciplined and and being process oriented. That's a big one. Um, you know, I remember in high school, my mom, my dad, they constantly were telling me like it's a process. You're not going to become a star overnight, and I kind of have to not necessarily relearn that lesson here, but kind of remember it because I'm at the bottom of the food chain again. I went from being a captain in high school to, you know, being a freshman in college football. So you kind of have to earn your stripes. And if I go to the NFL, it'll probably be the same way.
Every athlete faces setbacks, right? What's
Yeah.
the moment that tested kind of your mindset and your faith? And how did you bounce back from that?
That's a good question. So my senior year of high school, I was battling ankle sprains a lot. I missed probably half of my season, just um constantly like retweaking that. And it was hard because for one, I felt like if I wasn't battling that ankle sprain so much, my senior year could have been different. It's something that I think about a lot. And the other thing is, being sidelined was, I mean, it definitely took a toll on me mentally because, I mean, football was pretty much all I was doing for the most part. And so when you suddenly have that taken away from you, it's strange and like can almost like rob you of your sense of like purpose, if that makes sense.
So, how did your parents support you in that? Because I know that emotionally you had to be, I don't know, not pleasant, not happy. And even though it's all on you, I know it probably helps to have someone in your corner.
Yeah, it just we prayed a lot. We prayed a lot. That's for one. And for two, it just kind of reminded me that it was a minor setback, not not an actual like loss or failure, you know. And reminded me that it was out of my control. I can't really do anything about somebody falling on my ankle and rolling it. It's out of my hands.
Is
So
that the is that the first time you've been hurt and sidelined like that?
to that degree, yes.
Wow.
Before that, most I missed was probably like a game or two.
Okay. All right. God bless your parents. And I know that has to be hard because y'all are not pleasant, especially boys, when y'all are hurt. Were you nasty? Were you mean? Just sad? Like, what was your energy like? And how did you move past that?
I wasn't, I don't think I was mean. I just
You don't
was
think.
slightly, maybe slightly irritable.
Yeah.
But I wasn't, I didn't just become a jerk or anything like that.
Okay. So did you redshirt?
Like officially,
Yeah. No.
or I don't know. My situation on red shirt is kind of,
Wonky.
yeah, a little
Okay.
bit blurry right
We'll
now. I'm not really sure.
we'll leave that right there. What's the
Yeah.
energy like? What's the energy like in the Syracuse locker room? And how do you and your teammates keep each other accountable? And is it different than any other locker rooms you've been in?
Yeah, energy in the locker room, it's really important, because that's a lot of culture building taking place even in just the locker room.
Right.
When you got guys with bad chemistry and they don't get along with each other, they're more often than not good football teams. Um, Good teams that I've played on, the locker room was united. Guys were getting along with each other. They weren't cliques forming, like everybody could kind of hang around and be around everybody. And that's how it is here. Obviously, we're still just constantly trying to build the culture even more. But I could say that, in a team with 105 people on it, like it's really important that the locker room is on point.
When someone in the locker room has kind of a stale attitude or is bringing the energy down, what would you say your role as a young player is when that happens? Like when you start feeling someone else's negative energy, how do you process that? How do you work through that? Or do you just ignore it?
Um,
Because energy can be contagious, right?
yeah, that's very true.
Right.
So for me, I mean, our coach says that everybody should lead, but obviously some guys are bigger leaders than others. I'll be honest, I'm still finding my voice because still just a freshman. I'm not big bad Trey yet. So when I see that, I think for me, like I just don't let that affect my energy because going into practice with low energy is it's not fun. I can tell you that I've had that a couple times, especially when we had fall camp during August. I had a couple of days where I was just exhausted, and I went into practice, and it just was bad vibes the whole time. So when we see Bad energy, you gotta kill it. You gotta treat it like a disease almost.
Okay, talk me through that moment then. That exhaustion, that I don't think I can go anymore, but you have to.
Oh
How,
man.
yes,
Oh
talk me.
my gosh. Oh, fuck him. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I can confidently say that. I would do I would do crazy workouts in high school, and fall camp made those look like light work. It's just the it's like I said before. It's the early mornings and the late nights, and they just get to you at a certain point. I mean, we pretty much went the entire we pretty much went the entire month of August of just constantly waking up at 6 a.m. and not getting home till like 10 o'clock. Um, and that was a huge test for my mental strength. I'll say that. I'm glad I didn't tap out because I mean it helps build strength and it helps build um, resilience.
So, okay, follow me here. When I became a member of my organization, many of us, we had to go through processes that taught us that I'll just put it to you like this: we're never tiring in our efforts. So even if you're tired, you ain't tired, right?
Yeah.
And it takes a different type of discipline. And it sounds like that's what you went through. So I want you to walk me through though that moment where you're like, my body ain't working right. I'm, I'm so tired I can't even think. Forget this. I just want to go back to sleep. I need some Advil. This is crazy. So from that moment to actually getting up and getting back to the field, walk me through. Are you talking to yourself? Are you just like what? Tell me, because listen, I get up at 4:30 every morning and work out. I'm also trying to convince my son to do the same thing because it builds discipline. Sometimes we talk ourselves out of doing things instead of finding ways to commit and just do it. Like that Nike theme is very powerful to me. Just do it. Because if we think too long, we might think ourselves out of doing something. Talk me through that moment where you're just like, oh, I can't, to actually getting to the field.
I'd say by the second week, that's when a lot of us started feeling that. um, I'd say the entire team between players, staff, athletic trainers, everybody was just sleep deprived, and I mean you could see it in our faces sometimes. And between waking up at 6 a.m. and knowing that I have to wake up at 6 a.m. when I'm about to put my head on a pillow, it's very easy to start talking negatively. I remember waking up a couple times and I would just ask myself like I was just asking myself like why are we doing this? I think, and this might sound weird, but like I promise you, it is like very true. You don't love this sport if you don't have like some type of moment where you question how much you actually love it. Like I don't think that between you know getting up early and like doing the most exhausting workouts that you've ever done, I don't think there's any like D1 college athlete or like NFL player that has like never had like that one moment where there's like, do I really love this? And your actions end up proving that you do because you just keep going.
I think there's probably a few things in life where we have to question, do we really love this? Do we really love it? And then you make the decision, right? And you're better for it. Would you agree?
Yes, 100%.
I love that. So you do all this hard work, you get to where you want to go, and I'm sure you have aspirations for yourself beyond football. But I want you to tell me, when you take off your pads, who is Trey Dudley? What brings you peace? What brings you joy? What brings you purpose outside of football?
Um, when I take my pads off, I'm a regular dude. I'm just like anybody else. Just uh, I got a bunch of schoolwork waiting for me after. I have a social life. I had a girlfriend that I gotta keep in touch with 24/7. I mean, it's a lot of people think that like you play football, you know, you're just like constantly on this journey of just straight madness, and we are to an extent, but we're also normal people. You know, the football pads don't take away our humanity. We enjoy sleep. If we can get an opportunity to sleep in, we'll take it. So yeah.
What is your eating like? What are you eating these days? How do you stay fueled?
Like, do you want my meals or do you just want like?
I want you to tell, yeah, because those that are, there are going to be people that watch this that are trying to figure out, how should I be fueling myself as an athlete? How should my kids be fueling as an athlete?
So we have a nutritionist, and she's pretty much responsible for like what we're eating. I can tell you that there's a big emphasis on proteins, carbs, and fats.
Okay.
Yeah, so we need protein to build muscles, obviously. She tells us to eat a lot of carbs for energy, and then fats. Obviously not too much of it, but it's good for like storing weight and even keeping some body heat when it gets cold outside. So I'd say like breakfast, average breakfast, eggs, some type of like pancakes, waffles, French toast or something. Gonna be like bacon or sausages. There's a little like fruit bar too. Get some fruit in. We have a little fountain where you can get whatever you want to drink. I get a lot of water though. There's a huge emphasis on hydrating, by the way. She tells us to probably get 5 to 6 bottles of water in while we're at class. And then when we come to the facility, to drink even more water, just do a lot of sweating.
Yep.
I'd say lunch. I mean, they switch it up every day, so it's hard for me to just pick like one meal. But it might be like chicken or steak, some type of vegetable like green beans or broccolis, rice. Very like basic stuff. It's nothing like crazy. Like a lot of people have this idea that like
Right.
eating healthy is like some like super difficult math equation or something. It's really not rocket science. We're eating very
Normal.
basic stuff. Like,
But regularly.
yeah, regular. The consistency is where like is what makes the difference. But in terms of just like what we're eating, it's nothing extraordinary.
It sounds like consistency is a theme in your life right now.
It is. It is.
He's like, speaking of which, um, what is your best advice to young athletes and their parents who dream about playing at a D1 level but don't see what it really takes behind the scenes?
You gotta love it. That's all I can say. You gotta love it. Because when you get here, after all the recruiting took place, you'll realize that college football is more than just, the clout from having offers, the Instagram photos and in the official visit, jersey pictures. Once you actually touch base on campus, it's grind pretty much 24/7. So you have to love it. You're gonna be doing some very, very challenging, workouts and schedules. Like this is the most football that you have ever done in your life. So yeah, you have to love it. If you don't, you're gonna be ready to quit by first week.
Listen, I am thrilled that I've had the opportunity to chat with you and learn so much about your story and what you've been through and all of your struggles that you've overcome. I think it's amazing. Obviously, I think your mom is incredible. What's your message to your parents?
Thank you.
I love that. Hey, anytime you have some news to share, please make sure you keep us posted. We are here supporting you. I'm happy that you had some time off and got to spend some time with your friend. And I'm just wishing you all kinds of success as you move forward, Trey. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me too.
Absolutely. Hey, thanks for showing up to the podcast where we all know that the best leaders are lifetime learners. When you get a sec, take a moment, leave a comment. What you think about today's episode, and share it with someone that you know could use the gems that were dropped today. Follow and subscribe. You don't want to miss who's coming up next. You never know who could show up here and what they could say. For your professional needs, marketing, PR, communications, and leadership, make sure you follow us on all social media platforms at Sand and Shores, or hit us up at sandandshores.com. Again, thanks so much for showing up. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.